Be careful.
He's and Scott Higgins, both of them coked up out of their minds.
Listen to you. He's down in the basement.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
I think we should call this the Acement.
The Acement, yes.
Yeah, what do you think there, huh?
I like that. The Acement Studios.
Excuse me, I'm drinking beer. Hold on a second.
We usually drink bourbon on our end when we do the podcast, so
that's all right.
Feel free to enjoy yourself.
Yeah, exactly. You shoot an 8-ball if you want. We don't care, as long as it's good stories.
Welcome to the Acement, everybody, and tonight's very special Behind the Funny. I'm Scott Higgins.
And I'm Ace Aceto. Why do you sound like you're on Masterpiece Theater?
I know. I love to throw you off with a new
I
intro
love
every
it.
week. But thank you so much for joining us, you guys. We love bringing this to you. And tonight we have a very special bourbon date that we've brought back. We keep going back to her because she's an angel.
Because she's an angel just like our guest.
That's right.
That's why we're drinking Angel's Envy tonight. And folks, if you are watching this tonight at 8:30, feel free to throw comments in. We will answer them, but we're going to be answering them remotely because this is pre-recorded. So because
people got mad at us last time we did that.
I know. How come they're not answering? So it's because our guest is so busy right now that we were lucky to get her for this time. She is a staple in Rhode Island comedy and Rhode Island radio.
Yeah,
she is inductee into the Rhode Island Television and Radio Hall of Fame. She was on air at 94 HJY for years. I don't know if her whole career was 25 years she was on air. I don't know if it was all on HJY. She was a huge instrumental part of my early career getting on her show. You knew you were, you made it.
You were
if
something.
You got on her show.
You were something.
Please welcome to Behind the Funny, Miss Carolyn Fox.
Yo, Sansin! Sansin! Soga Hamihe! I don't talk anymore. I a series of abbreviations.
Is that what it is? You just abbreviating words?
Because we live in a very efficient society right now.
Yes.
So this is what I do. So I'm surprised that I don't have a neck brace on because I'm like this usually. And I go, hey, that's what I'm saying. Hey, maybe not. Blah, 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 blah.
You talk like people text now.
Yeah, exactly.
I do.
You talk in text.
Texter from yesterday's news. Okay.
So you're down in New York City now, right?
Nueva York City for our Spanish speaking
man. I'm down in the city, man. I'm down.
She go down to the city, man.
Yeah, that's right, man.
For our Spanish speaking friends.
That's right, man.
God, I love that. I mean, okay.
No,
so that's great.
Yeah, it's explicit, but we know you're kind of a really professional now. You grew up.
I am.
Right?
Only out of I did
necessity?
It out of necessity.
Yes.
So what I did was when I left Rhode Island, Boston, with my tail between my legs, I came to New York City and I thought I was going to work for Howard Stern. I swear to God.
Really?
So I had a great show idea, and Howard 101 was the station that they needed programming.
Yeah.
And the show, and if I can find the video, you'll think it's very funny.
Yep.
But they didn't have the money.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, when they
spent it all on Howard.
Yeah, when they started, Howard came over and all that money went to him. So they probably didn't have much to spend on other stuff.
When you do a radio or TV show now, because of the internet and because anyone can, post anything.
Look at us.
Start a show. Right.
We're in my basement. Yeah, right. Exactly.
So if you want to go big, you have to have your ad. You have to have your who's going to pay for the advertising first.
Right.
That's the very first thing.
They don't care about the content. They care about what money are you going to be able to bring in tomorrow.
So were they looking for you to bring advertisers with you with your show?
No. Had they asked me to do that, I could have done that.
Okay.
Right. Cardi's Furniture.
I also Caddies,
Nairobi.
Caddies,
Yeah,
as I was
Nairobi.
saying.
Nairobi.
I think that here's another messed up thing. I may have been too old.
Really?
I want to say Howard was, this was about 10 years ago, 10, 12 years ago. And I'm the same, he's actually a little older than me.
Yeah.
And I think the staff, what's his name? Baba Booey.
Yeah,
and he's our age too.
Yeah.
But they wanted to move. I think also it was an age thing. I gotta
Really?
say. And I don't mean that pejoratively or negatively or anything.
But on satellite radio, it seemed like the shock jock genre, for lack of a better term, started to come back a little bit because, you had on the XM. So when they were split, XM had Opie and Anthony, Sirius had Howard Stern. And then when they joined forces, they had both of them on. They had
the Bubba show from Florida. There were a lot of.
You had Ron and Fez.
Right.
You had a few different radio shows starting to come on. So I thought it was, and they're all older radio shows.
But they're not dead younger. Now. I mean, look, you've identified a bunch of people who 50% of them are dead.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
So anyway, so that didn't work out. My backup plan, I've always loved design. I've always loved, I've been investing in real estate since 1982.
Yeah.
It was kind of natch for me. And it was an industry that people come to later in life, not always, but often. And it's the hardest job I've ever had. And my old general manager at WHJY said, well, that's because you're comparing it to radio, where all you had to do was like comb your hair, brush your teeth, and go on a mic,
Right.
So, yeah.
But it's got to be rewarding on top of it too, because in New York City, you're not dealing with little, here's this nice little double wide for $89,000,
touche. And I really appreciate that comment. You're right.
Yeah.
And the higher the ticket price, so
more work.
It's not even more work. It's more stressful.
Yeah.
Because every deal has huge number of moving parts.
Right.
And so I've gone from being a comedian. Oh, by the way, I play the Comedy Cellar, and you
Did you really?
Oh, rub that salt in the wound.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I sucked.
Doesn't matter.
Well, you played it.
Doesn't matter. That's a legendary club.
To your point, I was listening to some of you.
Got a drink.
Are you doing research on this show?
We're
actually having T-shirts made that say "To your point."
Yeah. I've listened to some of I don't have many impersonations, and I know that was perhaps how you started.
Yeah.
That was your launch pad. I did. Come on. I didn't even know. I mean, you guys didn't even send questions. You didn't tell me I was going to be on video.
No, I told you were going to be on video. You kept saying, is it audio or video? And like 4 times I said, it's audio and video. And you were like, all right, I'll call from my phone. And I'm I don't think she's getting my messages.
Carolyn, the whole concept of this was not a prearranged interview. It was more when we first started. It was like the comics hanging out in the green room, having a conversation, get to know each other, type of thing. It was meant to be much more conversational. Yes, exactly. More organic.
Kind of like Larry King. In Larry King's interviews, I would say I'm a little bit of a nerd.
Yeah.
80-90% of them, he just is the past tense of wang.
Wang.
Wonged? Is it wonged?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Wong it.
It's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
Wong.
yeah,
No, it's
yeah.
not Wong at all.
Yeah. Anyway,
Oh,
he's
you said
dead too. So
Yeah,
why Bicker?
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
Bicker? Yeah.
No. So, all right, let's back up because
I was going to say, we're kind of
kinda 10 years ago.
Tarantinoing this one
Yeah,
where we
we're
went to the end.
we're
Okay,
gonna do Pulp Fiction. She's snoring something.
I was just going to say, is this the 80s?
I love it.
Yeah. I was thinking
She
my
hasn't
nose.
changed at all.
Granted, I did that in the 80s, but
Yeah, I was going to say, is this the 80s? So,
Yeah.
yeah, we talked about kind of leaving radio. Let's go back to where you grew up.
I grew up in the doggy style capital of the universe.
West Warwick.
What? Oh, I can't believe you said that. Oh my
Because
God.
Carolyn, that's what you
Yeah,
what you
yeah.
called it every time on
Yeah,
the radio.
yeah,
West
yeah,
Warwick, the
yeah.
doggy
West
style
Warwick,
capital of
doggy
the U.S.
But I grew up, I'm used to now being with New Yorkers who don't even know that there's a state called Rhode Island.
Rhode Island,
They
yeah.
keep saying, Long Island?
Yeah,
Long
yeah.
Island? You're from Long Island? What
Oh,
accent?
yeah.
Where's
No
that?
idea.
Is that near Hampton, Northampton, or
You know what
West
it's like?
Hampton, or Hampton, or whatever the Hamptons are?
It's like, where's that
Yeah, where's that at?
at? Is that Rhode Island or New York? I can't remember.
Yeah, right.
Now, when did you decide that radio was your thing that you wanted to get into?
Oh, it was
Did you want to do it, or did it kind of fall into place?
No,
Because some
there
people
was
have,
no falling.
no.
There was no help me, I can't get up. There was none of that.
Yeah.
I've fallen, I can't get up. No, it was something that was in my blood. And
Yeah.
I think my passion for music
Okay.
and music saved my life. It really did. I grew up in a family that was, you talk about Catholic families. Huh? Wait till you grow up in a Jewish family.
Hoy vey.
Hey, the only family that can guilt someone more than a Catholic is a
You
Jewish
know
mom,
what?
right?
Oh, yeah.
They're the
You
same.
got an A? Why didn't you get an A plus? Okay.
My father used to say that to me.
So my sister and I shared a room. I got the crappy desk over the radiator, but I
Mhm.
had hot knees, and I think that may have contributed to my love of rock and roll.
Mhm.
And it was a fortuitous Jewish New Year or Yom Kippur. I'm going to say maybe 1974. I know, before most of you were born.
No.
Not either of us.
No,
but
not
go
either
ahead.
of us.
And well, you're very well lubricated.
Well, thank you.
Okay. Formaldehyde's working.
Yes, thanks.
So I saw the rabbi on the pulpit, the bimah, whatever you want to call it, behind the microphone. I'm saying, "Oh my God!" Giving a sermon. I'm
Yeah.
saying, to myself,
I want to do that.
that sermon so sucks.
I could do way better than that.
So I combined the music and the big mic. And I've been talking it to the big mic ever since.
Yeah.
Come on, it was funny.
That was funny.
It was a visual.
I got it.
Okay.
You
Well,
even went
Scott is,
down.
like,
You
still
even went.
paralyzed.
You even went down at the same time.
Yeah. So anyway,
Strangely
so
turned on right now.
I am too.
Excuse me. Hello.
I said I'm strangely turned on right now.
It's-
Yeah.
strange.
Okay, keep your right arm on his leg and everything.
All right.
Hey,
Okay.
ho.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. So anyway, that was the beginning of the end, and though I had a great run of it, and it was very exciting. And
How did you start? How did you
Get
start?
into an actual radio station.
Did you go
Okay,
to
so
radio school or?
guidance counselor, classical high school.
Yep.
Told him what I wanted to do. Oh, I happened to know the owner of some AM radio station, top 40 radio station in, I don't think it was even Pawtucket. I think it was, isn't there like like an area of Pawtucket that's like Pawtucket? Like, okay, maybe not.
Yeah.
Pawtucket's not overly large.
No.
WGNG.
Okay, I remember WGNG. Yeah.
I can't even remember the frequency, but So they hired me to do, because I was the only woman. And back then in 1975, there were no women who were doing
Oh,
it.
Right. Yeah.
So it was a lucky spot, if you will. My mother had to drive me to work because I couldn't even drive yet. I did drive, but I could only go in reverse, and that was in my driveway when I used to park cars for the Brown football games. And so we had a lot of cars in my family with the butt end of the car kind of pushed in like a Pinto, but different.
Not as explosive.
Yeah. Excuse me. I'm pretty explosive, especially after I eat. Okay, you can fill the blanks.
But I'm bummed.
Yeah. All right, so that's how I got in. Then I was Man on the Street Human, doing wacky stuff, and the program director or a colleague there who was very involved in WBRU said, you have a modicum of talent. Let me teach you about music. This top 40 stuff is great, but you need to go deep, deep, deep. I didn't know he was talking about he and I.
That's a great line.
Yeah.
That's a great pickup line.
Yeah. Right.
All right. I'm still picking up boys, so I have to stay sharp.
Yeah.
And they're not boys anymore. They're.
How about 54-year-old boys?
You're married and Catholic.
No,
He's not married.
I'm divorced.
What the hell happened?
I'm sorry.
Why
I'm
did
divorced.
Why did she kick you out?
She didn't kick me out. She just left.
Oh, that's a little passive aggressive, don't you think?
Well,
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Did she have to tell you why? I think maybe after
there was a lot
when
of-
you bring home two broads and recommend that we have an orgy, that was probably the tip.
was that that I shouldn't have done that?
I'm thinking that's bad stewardship.
You should be a marriage counselor now instead.
I am.
I've been married 31 years because we're both too cheap to pay for the
Yeah,
divorce.
there you go. That
All
was
right.
expensive.
But to the same woman?
Yes.
Okay. And who's counting?
She is. Every
I am
week.
much more than her.
Don't you miss an anniversary?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, WGNG was 55. WGNG.
Oh, yeah.
I looked it up.
AM down. You're right. You're right.
550.
So
I mean.
let's, obviously want to keep things moving because she doesn't have a lot of time.
Yeah.
Obviously, your heyday was. Good morning, asshole.
Yeah, just in case you play this in the morning.
Yeah.
You like a lipstick? Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, kind of. Well, at least
It's actually
her
fun.
heyday
Sorry.
that I remember her was HJY.
Yes.
94 HJY. That's when everybody kind of knew Carolyn Fox was 94 HJY.
It's only because I slept with the whole audience.
You missed one. You missed one.
Missed a couple of
Well,
us.
I gave you Van Halen tickets instead.
That's right.
Which I appreciate.
Actually,
I
what's
did
funny?
appreciate that.
As soon as I posted this on Facebook that we were going to
Brian
be talking
Mulhern.
to you,
Oh,
Brian-
Brian
the pharmacist. Yeah.
Brian cut his teeth on
Yes.
me and
Brian actually posted that when we posted that you were going to come on, he said that if it wasn't for you, he would be a bigger nothing than he is now.
well, he was and still is a funny
A
bastard.
funny guy.
He's hilarious. He's a great guy.
So dry.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's my favorite kind of humor. Anybody can. All right. So when I studied comedy after I got off when I came to New York, I studied comedy, and that's how I got to the Comedy Cellar. I got to tell you, I used to be a pun master.
Yeah.
And my coach said, Carolyn, being punny or being, making jokes off puns, play on words, is the most base version of comedy. Let it go.
He totally
Let it go.
cut you at the knees.
In real estate, when I do real estate and I'm, trading $5-6 million apartments and $450,000 apartments, which sounds like a lot, but in New York, that's
That's not-
That's as big as this room.
No, less, just less. They kind of like the core
Yeah.
because the comedy just drips out. It oozes.
You can't help yourself.
I freaking can't help myself. because I feel like we're here for a short time, not a good time. Oh, wait a minute. Is that the Hells Angels, the dyslexic Hells Angels? Okay.
Dyslexic Hells Angels.
Yeah.
We're here for a long time, not a good time.
That's right.
The Jewish version.
The Jewish. Hey,
Hey, we're here for a long time, not a good time.
it's the Jewish
You
angels.
bested you.
Are you getting compensated for that, Bourbon's?
We're working on it.
We're working on
Okay.
it.
We're
So
in
I
negotiations.
want you to
Yeah.
know, I have a drink that I
Yeah.
invented that anybody who knows me knows that it's called the Foxonian.
The Foxonian.
And I've had 3/4 of one
Oh,
while the mic's been on.
that's
And so the Foxonian is
Okay, we
'cause
got to
I
know
think
what's in
my-
it.
I think my chakra is blue. Okay. It's Bombay Sapphire Gin, blue bottle.
Okay.
And then, I'm sure you don't know what this is, you old
What?
farts. Hypnotique.
Hypnotique.
No,
I've heard of that.
Hypnotic. Okay.
Yeah.
It was
it's
the
blue.
rapper drink back in the 90s.
Yeah.
So,
Is it blue?
yeah,
it's
we'll
made,
check Windex.
Yeah, yeah.
it's made from cough medicine and
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, you can't get the full effect until you add the cough medicine.
oh, is that what it
Yeah.
is?
Okay.
Okay.
So it's called the Foxonian. It's half gin. No, 3/4
Half
gin.
Bombay.
And you spill Bombay Sapphire. It has to be the blue bottle.
Yeah.
And then the blue shit, the
Hypnotique.
Yeah. It's coming back.
Is it really? Oh,
Yeah,
we'll have to
yeah.
try that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ask what-
We might have to do cocktails on the show one time.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
do that.
I can tell you a couple of cocktails if you'd like. Okay, there
Oh,
were
yeah.
these guys.
Shoes. Now that's very punny.
Okay.
Yes.
She's
I know.
funny.
But timing is everything.
So let me ask you this, because when we put this up on Facebook, our comments flooded with
Oh,
all kinds
yes.
of questions. One guy said that he almost got to take you to the prom in 1986
Sounds
because
like that
you
guy.
ran a contest and
Yeah.
he came in like second place, and the guy that won went to the same prom or
Yeah,
went to
yeah.
Yes.
different school but same place.
I vaguely remember that. And I believe it was in Cranston.
Cranston.
It's in Cranston.
This guy went to LaSalle.
Oh
but
my
I'll bet
God.
you it
Oh,
was at
that
the
could've been the
Cranston
first
Country
year.
Club.
Who didn't love the boys at LaSalle? Oh,
Yeah. Well, I went one year.
oh
Does
you're
that
killing
count?
me. Look, my nipples are wrecked. Look.
Oh,
I
I
no,
just heard
look,
a
the
drip.
hair on I don't have any more hair because I'm old. Yeah. Oh, LaSalle boys. I love Catholic boys. You know why? Because they were. Hi, Dad. Hi. Okay.
Hi. Oh, I love it. I love it. Carolyn Fox just gave me a kiss.
Hey, we're both Catholic.
Yeah, but you're
Okay.
married. I'm
God,
not.
come on.
Leave it alone.
31.
All right.
I mean,
And
really,
then-
you're gonna break up your marriage for me?
We're-
Bad bet.
We're in
Bad
it.
freaking bet.
We're in an open marriage.
Yeah.
Yeah, what does that mean? You open one door and she opens the other? And
No, it
No.
means the door is open and she's kicking my ass out if I
Yeah,
do anything.
Okay,
exactly.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
So there was
As I
that,
say,
and then
No, you're not saying it right, Scott.
no, I'm not from New York.
I'm not either. I'm faking
trying
it till I make it. You don't even know.
on the tracks.
It's
You don't even
It's
know.
off the rails.
It's off the rails.
Hey.
All right. Can you
yes,
just
dear.
one of the things that someone brought up was the infamous
talk. What?
April Fool's joke.
Oh yeah.
Yes. There-
Actually,
there's-
I bring up the cock.
I'm not going to repeat it.
I think I'm cockeyed.
Yes, that's what she said. She
Too
thinks
much.
she's
That's
cockeyed.
what she said.
There was an
What?
infamous April Fool's joke. Are you watching her?
I can't.
This is the
I
most
can't.
fun I've had with my clothes on in years.
Really?
Okay,
Oh,
this is like a
well.
total outlet for me because
No, this is what we
real
want.
estate-
Yeah, you have to stay all buttoned up, right?
Oh my god.
Yeah. Let it out. Let it out.
Feel
for
free to
us.
let
Feel
loose.
free.
Oh my god.
We want this show to be unencumbered.
Sorry, but I hope you like my jeans. Look, I
I
made
do.
them myself. I made them myself.
Did you really?
Yeah,
Oh
patched
my
them.
God.
You know why? I swear
What are
to
they,
God.
bandanas?
I swear to God. Tell you why.
Yeah.
The quality of clothing isn't what it was like when we grew up and shopped at Ann and Hope, New
Yep.
York Place Company.
Fanes. Yep.
Oh,
Fanes.
Fanes. No, we love Fanes.
Yes. Fanes.
But
department
Fanes was a
store.
carpet store. We're not talking about Fanes.
Well, the Fanes that I went to was on Charles Street in Providence. It was a clothing store too.
I wonder if they were but those were the items that fell off the back of the truck, Ace. Okay.
Just because he's Italian, you're saying that?
Hey, no one knows nothing.
Seriously?
No, because my grandma used to take me to Charles Street.
Yeah.
Okay? The Jews were in on this too. That's how
Okay.
Lomans started.
My
That's how
hairdresser,
Lomans.
All right,
you don't
all right.
know what
the
Lomans is.
hairdresser in my neighborhood used to she would take you in the back room and she had stuff that fell off the back of the truck.
All right, we're running short on time, Carolyn, and one of our listeners actually, put on Facebook today to ask you about the April Fool's prank.
Okay,
The famous April Fool's prank that you did on the radio.
Oh yeah, I did it, man.
You have to tell the story.
Okay, the roots of this joke was in Killington, or at Killington, Vermont, and I had to come up with some stunt. And my friend Debbie Blake, who is a salesperson or a sales weasel at WHJY, who now lives in France, she's an expatriate.
Wow.
Not that I don't disagree with her, or I fully understand why. We just were skiing and thought we were going to kill ourselves, because we sucked at it and we were doing bumps and all this. So when you're afraid, sometimes that helps the comedy process.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
We're trying to think of so many things. And then as Ace has described in some of his on-air performances, his recordings, blah, 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 you have to steal from other people. And what happens is when you go to sleep at night, you don't think you're stealing from other people. Then you wake up and say, oh my God, what a great idea. Okay, so I stole from Alan Funt. Was it Alan Funt?
Alan Funt from Candid Camera.
Yeah. And I remember when I was a youngster, a little critter, watching Alan Funt. I think it proceeded 60 Minutes, maybe. It was like a Sunday fun day thing.
Yeah.
And I remember on the side of the road holding up a sign, some city is closed. And I think it was Chicago. I think it was something like that. But it resonated with me. It was part of me. I think it's just part of this. and I remembered it. And Rhode Island, but different.
Yeah, right.
No, I'm teasing. I love Rhode Island. Remember, it's a doggy style. I haven't done doggy
Listen,
style.
you gotta let me know when you come back. I'll take you to Wienerama in Cranston.
I'm coming back.
We're gonna have to edit. We're gonna edit the back out.
Yeah, take the word back out of that.
Okay. Back at you. All right. So anyway, long and short, that was the idea I borrowed, and then I jazzed it up a little bit.
And said what?
I said, "Hey, Providence is closed. Go home." And
how much trouble did that
I know
cause?
there was a Donald Spermetti who is the head of some, random. Come on, in Rhode Island they've got these titles and these.
Oh yeah. He was like the Grand Poobah of Johnston.
Yeah. I don't know, like the Department of Labor Action and your Dick Patrol, something like that. I couldn't say that, nor could I say Jesse Jackson was an asshole because I almost peed my pants when my boss almost fired me for that. But I didn't know asshole was a word you couldn't say in the air. You would know. You like
but isn't
Pryor. No,
George Carlin. It was one of the 7 dirty words.
That's one of the 7 dirty words.
Yeah, I didn't know asshole was one of them.
If you say ass, it's fine. If you say ass, it's fine. If you say hole, it's fine. But if you put them together, it's not.
Right.
Makes no sense at all, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm dyslexic. How about whole ass?
Yeah, you could say whole ass. Yeah, I guess so.
So
as
when
long as you don't say New York City before it. I'll come to New York City.
New York City and do the Comedy Cellar with me?
Oh my God!
Whenever you
can get us a spot.
if you can get us a spot, we're coming out and doing the podcast live.
And spot, but wear a diaper.
All right.
100%. Absolutely. I had to jump out of that one.
To your point, we would love to come to New York
Absolutely.
City. Absolutely.
That would be
and honestly,
a pleasure.
Honestly, we've done a couple of these podcasts where we've gone out like for dinner, kind of like but we're not as fancy as whoever you're going to dinner tonight. But we go to Twins Pizza. Yeah, El Porno.
No, you come back. We're going to someplace like Capitol Grill.
Yeah.
I got a Capitol Grill down the street. What do I need to go back to Rhode Island
No,
for?
forget about it.
We'll take you to Federal Hill.
No, we'll take you to Spain.
Spain. There you go.
Every time I see a Rhode Island plate here in Midtown,
New York, I'm
saying, how did they figure out how to get here?
They never leave the state.
All right.
They never leave.
Carolyn,
I gotta meet those people.
What restaurant in Rhode Island do you miss the most?
Oh, come on.
That's still
beside Cellos.
It's not the same as it was. It's not the same as when George and Joanne were running that place. I mean,
where?
El Porno.
Oh, El Forno.
Yeah. It's still good though. It's still good.
Come on, Oh, the old canteen.
The old canteen is still
still
around.
good. It's still good.
It's still there.
What about what about Hemingway's?
Oh,
I had a good
one of my faves.
Man,
one of my faves.
You come back to Rhode Island.
I've left some underwear at Hemingway's.
You too? You too?
We've all done
well,
that.
I left it for you because I understand you like wearing women's clothing. But the thong goes, and the big fabric piece of the thong goes over your face.
See, the problem is when I put on the thong, I put it on backwards. I didn't realize.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what she's saying.
I thought the big piece went in the back.
Yeah.
Okay, but the good thing is you can floss.
That's only because
there you go.
That's only because his backside is bigger than the front.
That's what it is.
That's
okay.
See, I'm learning a lot on tonight's podcast.
Yeah,
Carol, it's 6:30. She has a meeting. She has to go.
I know.
Yeah,
I could stay on with you for another hour, Carolyn.
Really?
We have to get her back on.
I know.
We have to get her back.
Well, you're the one that had to leave. We don't want to make you late for your dinner.
The only reason I had to leave is because randomly and coincidentally, I swear to God, I'm not making this.
We know that. We know that.
A really good friend who's a big. Okay, we didn't do podcasts back in the day. Okay, we actually got paid money. I made a whole lot of money in radio. Now the little podcast. Oh, I'm gonna make 20,000 a year. Yeah, fuck you. I'm not making that.
We'd be happy to make that
with 20 grand a year. Are you kidding?
Yeah, but you're selling medical supplies. And
I do. Yeah,
I have.
We both have day jobs.
Yeah, I have a medical marijuana license, so I'm very interested in that. Medical supplies. Yeah, and I know you're making a lot of money because that's where the world is right now.
I do all right.
Drug us up, make us incontinent, unconscious, and oblige and be okay. Enough of it. Okay, so
I'm just watching her go off on a tangent.
I know. I was enjoying that for a second.
Okay. I am now going to secure a deal with a major radio corporation who wants to do comedy and real estate.
Oh, that's awesome.
I know,
awesome.
isn't it great?
That is awesome.
I was listening to you and you said, you got to write comedy that is about you and about your life.
It has to be about you and your life. Yeah.
Because if it's not, you end up waking up after a sleep and like saying, oh, that's fresh. That's mine. Nobody can make this shit up in real estate in New York City.
Right.
You know what? Have you ever seen a show called $1 Million Listing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
None of that is true. I don't want to say none of it's true, but I want to do a show where you're in the trenches, not hot, not sexy. It's like you can't. Oh, this is what I want to do.
Right.
You can't make this stuff up. Real estate, New York.
Right.
Okay. On that note.
So you're meeting with someone to talk about that tonight?
Yeah, Ron. Yeah, Ron Hartenbaum. He's very big. He's got a ton of artists and talent. Oh my God! I should tell him about you.
Let him. Yeah, about
please.
What, our podcast in my basement.
Don't slow yourself. Okay.
I almost
Again,
did.
back to the diaper.
Yeah,
All right.
I know.
Mama's gotta rock.
Listen,
And-
we really appreciate you coming on,
And we definitely
any-
want to have you back on again.
Anytime that you want to come back on, and especially if you come back to Rhode Island or we come to New York, we want to get together. All right,
Listen,
and we'll do
haven't been
this.
to Rhode Island in a long time because
We'll
I'm
come down to New York just for you.
Yes, absolutely.
We will find our way down to New York. We actually know
Okay,
how to
you'll
get
forage. You'll forage.
there. We will.
Not to
I-
marry us.
Absolutely promise you.
All right.
Thank you so much for being on, Carolyn. We
All right,
really
can I please
appreciate
have-
it.
I want a little kissy.
All right.
All right.
Let me give you. Oh, for goodness
And I'll put my cheek up.
Oh my God, that's so bad.
Hold on.
Ace, come on. You're the little one.
Let me come around with you.
Okay. Little huggy poo.
There it is. All right.
Right on your little tuchus.
I hope you know that was a little uncomfortable for my lips to be as close to his. All
Hey,
right.
It wasn't uncomfortable for me at
We're-
all.
I
we're
like
close,
that.
but
Who
not
doesn't
that
like
close.
A threesome? All right.
Yeah.
Goodbye. Love to all.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much, Carolyn.
Thank you.
Comedy is the cure for all the idiocy going on in the world. So keep on pumping it out.
You got it.
Pumping funny. And next time I talk to you, I'll actually put clothes on that are more formal.
You don't
Please
have
don't.
to do that.
Please don't.
Don't even put any on. How's that?
Okay.
You're going to be late for your
One
dinner.
last thing. The
Yes.
painting in the background
Yes.
is from an artist in Rhode Island. My parents gave me a, call it a 25-year-old birthday
Yep.
present. And that's an artist from Rhode Island.
Oh,
And
that's
that's
awesome.
awesome.
What's the name?
Yeah. Italian. Let me see.
Italian.
Oh, hey.
We just want, hey,
Capelli. That's all I'm saying.
Capelli. That's all right. We just wanted you to turn around so we
Yeah,
could
you
see,
did.
you
Now
know,
you know I am.
you haven't changed and we love you for it.
Oh,
All right, I'll see you guys
absolutely.
later. Ciao, ciao. Good
Thank
luck.
you.
Thanks for
Bye,
playing.
Carolyn.
Bye,
Thank
honey.
That
Love
was
you.
An awful lot of fun.
Thank you. And that was Carolyn Fox. Holy shit.
You know what? I knew it was going to be like that because first of all, I mean, she ran her own radio show for years. So
And
how did we ever think we were going to be able to corral her in
now,
to
now.
do our thing?
What a joke.
And then being on the time crunch of only having 35
Well,
minutes
that's
with
why
her.
I kept trying to jump
I know.
in and it's like, I want to hear this story. I want to hear
I
this
know.
story. I tried to cram
As
90
much as we
minutes worth
could.
of
I
material
know.
in 30. That's why we got to get her back.
I would love
gotta
that. And
get her back.
honestly, I'll fucking drive to New York. I'm not kidding. I will drive to New York
Dude, I'm in the car
to
with you.
do a show
I'm
with her.
in the car with
We'll
you.
find a corner of a restaurant and we'll do a
I'm
show
in the
from
car
there,
with you.
You know?
That was
That'd
so
be
worth
awesome.
it. That was so worth it. She is still as sharp, still as funny as she ever was.
Still is irreverent. You can't even keep her. Like,
Oh, no.
at the beginning of the podcast,
Dude.
she's like, all right, yeah, I got to kind of watch my language. I know you guys are explicit.
You know,
That wasn't the only time she did it twice.
Dude, I know.
She dropped it twice.
what I
love it.
what I love is when a guest gets comfortable enough in the conversation
Where they start dropping F-bombs.
where they slip. Where
know.
they slip. Her guard wasn't up anymore and she let it fly.
Yes.
You know, she felt comfortable enough. And you know what? That's one of the things that, I mean, I know for a lot of comedians, when we were, you know, in high school and stuff like that, we would listen to radio shows. I mean, she mentioned Howard Stern and we talked about Opie and Anthony. We
Yep.
talked about guys like that, you know, and I know you were the same way because you were a huge Howard Stern guy.
Yeah.
Listening to like the Jackie Martlings
Yep.
and guys that were that third mic, that comedian
Yeah.
that was on there, that was a huge influence on us.
Oh, absolutely. It just getting invited on as a guest was such a huge deal. There's so
Any
much,
radio show.
guys, there is so much that we did not get to talk about
Not even
tonight with
close.
her.
Not even close.
We barely scratched the surface. I mean, listen, for years, her sidekick was a guy named Rudy Cheeks.
I remember,
remember
Rudy.
Rudy?
Oh, yeah.
Well, as soon as I posted we were having Carolyn on, Rudy posted underneath and
Yep.
said, one of the greatest human beings ever. Like,
She is.
I would love to get the two of them back on together. Like,
oh,
there's
we got to
so
work on
many-
that.
I was
we got to work on that.
because we were limited for time tonight. I didn't invite Rudy, but I'm friends with Rudy on Facebook. I'd love to get him and Carolyn on together.
That would be a
That
fun
would be a
podcast.
amazing podcast.
The two of
So,
them. the two of them together.
You got to try and get her back.
I mean, because radio back in the day, unfortunately, radio is
because there's a million idiots like us out there on podcasts, so it's diluted
between podcasts, satellite radio, everything else is so much entertainment out there. It's overload. But back in the day, radio was king.
Oh yeah.
So we would tune in every day to listen to the radio shows. So to hear the stories about back in the day, those guys,
right.
Brian Mulhern,
right.
Him commenting that, if they didn't let him on his radio show when he was Brian the pharmacist, he wouldn't be the guy he is today. And congratulations to Brian, by the way, real quick. He posted recently that their ratings for his morning show.
Number one country station in the entire country.
In the United States.
We're in fucking Rhode Island.
In the United
not
States.
Texas, not Tennessee, not anywhere down south.
In Rhode Island.
The
smallest state in the union.
Crazy.
And
they are the biggest country station.
Biggest country station.
Which is amazing.
Which, I couldn't be happier for our friend Brian.
Absolutely.
The guy works his ass off and does a great radio show and deserves it.
But you know what? Honestly, I can't thank Carolyn enough for being on. I know this was a shorter episode than normal. We really want to get her back on where we can talk a little bit more, because even like the way she started the story with talking about how she left 10 years ago and went to New York,
right?
To go.
We didn't even get into that much.
We didn't even get into like the deeper part of it, because honestly,
I wanted to jump back to what got her into radio.
But I also wanted to talk about the fact that, all right, great that you were going to try and get on Howard Stern's show or be part of 101. But honestly, in the heyday when Howard first got syndicated, I want to know why she wasn't syndicated. Because she absolutely was just as big as Howard in the New England market as Howard was in the New York.
But you said it, and I do believe this, that she was playing in a boys' club at the time.
Absolutely. And I wanted to delve deeper into that.
She brought it up, but we didn't get a chance to scratch the surface on it.
Right.
When she got into radio on the AM station, a woman having her own radio show was unheard of.
Right. She was groundbreaking, and people don't realize that. And that's why I wanted to get her on. And I know, this was like I said, it's a shorter episode. We were a little bit time constrained, but honestly, I'm going to text her. If she wants us to come down to New York City, I would absolutely love to go down to New York City and just have dinner with her and talk more. That would be an amazing, amazing time.
Really, because I mean, radio back in the day was it was to me, and I've talked about it before on this show, that kind of is what piqued my interest, was because I listened to radio constantly. AAF, WBCN, those are two big radio stations here in New England, for those of you that are outside New England.
HJY in Rhode Island, where Carolyn
and
was,
BCN used to have the comedy Riots in Boston, where they'd invite comedians on. And back in the day, they had comedians that are now national names that would come on the show. And Carolyn Fox would have the whatever comedians were in town performing on her show. And you get to listen to them.
And as a local comedian, if you got invited to go on Carolyn Fox's show to push your weekend, that was huge.
That was to local guys like the national guys making it on the Tonight Show.
Absolutely.
It was like, oh my God, I got to be in Carolyn Fox's show.
I was so fucking nervous the first time I was
on her
show. But
of course
you see how she was right now?
Fine.
That's how she was back then.
Yes.
Just all over the place, and made you feel so comfortable. And if you got nervous, she could sense it, and she'd fill in the gaps and then bring you back in.
Yeah, she was a great radio host,
Carolyn.
And that's why people like her back in the day when they had their radio show started to spin records a little bit less
and talk more.
And a lot of program directors at radio stations got mad at them, but
until they realized their ratings started
their
going
ratings
up,
went through the roof. That's what happened to Opie and Anthony. That's what happened to Howard. That's what happened to her. Is they realized the talking is what kept people engaged, not the music.
Right.
And it lit things on fire. And man, it was so much fun talking to her, even though I don't feel like we totally talked to her as much as she talked at us.
I love her. I love the fact that she checked out and thought I was married and kind of was excited that I'm not. So I would move to New York City.
Love the fact that Carolyn, she quoted your line because she listened to the show.
I know she did some research.
Oh my God, that was like a victory.
Listen, if Carolyn wants me to move to New York City, I will move to New York City for her.
She still looks pretty damn
my
good.
God, I still have such a huge crush on her. All right.
Okay,
so
we're getting in a
let's
weird
get the
area,
business. Yeah, let's get the business.
So those I hope you guys enjoyed that.
Yeah.
That was kind of a taste of Carolyn Fox more than anything else.
Ooh, she'd love that we said that.
Yes, she would. She actually would love
Just
that.
a taste.
We're gonna have to pull that out and send that to her.
That was a taste of Carolyn Fox.
But that's more of a sample.
That's what we should call the episode.
A taste of Carolyn
taste
Fox.
of Carolyn Fox.
Perfect.
Oh my God.
Perfect.
She'll love it.
We hope to have her on and get some more stories from her because she had an unbelievable radio career. Unbelievable.
I think she misses radio because
You could tell.
soon as she got on with us, even before we got
She
on
went right
live,
into that mode.
she was right on.
She was right
from the get-go.
It
was like she hadn't missed a beat.
We were just trying to tell her, okay, the show is this and that, and she is just like
she's
boom,
making
boom,
jokes
boom,
and
boom,
puns.
and she was just in that mode, and she is just an awesome person. So we're so happy to have her on. So you guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We're glad you did. For those of you that watch us live every week, we appreciate that very much. We wanted to capture this one tonight, so that's why we pre-recorded it and we're putting it on now. And Ace and I are watching the comments, so make sure that you're commenting, and we're definitely going to follow up on those. If you are listening, again, thank you so much, you subscribers. You mean everything to us. You really do. This is the reason we do this every week. And if you want to help out the podcast, one of the best ways to help us out is that 5-star written review
and remember,
wherever
folks,
you download your podcast.
And remember, if we get to 25 5-star written reviews by the end of April, Scott has to wear a bikini, a behind the funny bikini.
I made that promise, and I will live up to that promise, people.
I promise you guys that he will wear it the correct way. he won't wear it backwards.
We never said a thong bikini. We never said that.
Listen,
we just said a bikini.
No offense, buddy, but any bikini is a thong on you.
Okay, good point. Good. No, valid point. Valid point.
But just make sure you wear it the right way.
Maybe we could have Mike Murray make it.
Make a little pouch.
Make a.
That
a golden one.
A golden pouch. Oh my God.
But Mike Murray could make it so it's sublimated.
That's right. That's sublimated.
That way,
going to crack or peel.
It won't peel. It won't wash off. But I am a man of my word. I am a man of integrity, and I will put that bikini on.
Oh my God! Please do that. Please.
Ace wants nothing more. Ace wants nothing more.
Yes.
But yeah, if tell a friend. 5-star written review. It's just a huge help to the podcast. We are going to do a random drawing at the end of the month.
The end of so probably the first show that we have in May is going to be on the 4th. And
Rodney Norman's going to be.
Actually, Rodney can't make it on the 4th. I got to push him to the 11th.
But anyway,
on that one,
on that live show on the 4th, we're going to pull a name out of a hat, and we're going to give away some swag.
Yes.
Not sure exactly what yet, but at least
I thought it was going to be a T-shirt.
A T-shirt, and maybe
a mug.
Maybe a coffee mug.
All right.
With it. Maybe both.
Coffee mug that says 100% on one side and to your point on the other.
So anybody that gives us a 5-star review between last week and then it will be put into a drawing for those two things.
So listen, folks, thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for listening. Again, we will be watching the comments, even though this is pre-recorded. We'll be watching the comments and sending comments back. So again, tell your friends about us. We really appreciate it. Next week, we have the very funny Steve Bjork coming on, as Mike Murray says, Steve Bjork.
Or as it's actually said, Steve Bjork.
Steve Bjork, very, very funny comic from Boston. And we had him on in season 2. We had a little bit of a sound issue. We are not going to have that next week.
No.
I am going to be remote from a hotel room. I don't know where, Scott. If Steve,
I haven't decided yet. Yeah, if Steve's going to come down, I'll meet him here in the Acement.
Here in the Acement,
be more than happy to meet him here. And if not, we'll all be remote.
And we'll all be remote. But
anyway, we'll be bringing Steve Bjork to you next week.
Very, very funny guy with a really cool story too. Of what he's been up to over the past like 3 or 4 years. So listen, folks, check us out again. Please continue to tune in, tell a friend, and other than that, we will talk to you
next week.